What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of a live-action anime manga release that Netflix has put out called Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead. Let's get into it. So yeah, don't let the long title fool you. Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead is a combination of ideas that were put together by some manga artists who actually put out the comic some time ago, and then of course Netflix picked it up and said, hey, let's do an anime and we'll release it alongside the live action. So literally right now you could actually go and watch the anime of Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead or the live action version of Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead. Choose your poison. Maybe I'll do both, but they do seem to have different tones than one another, and I have never read the manga series, so just a heads up, I'm only reviewing the live action one at this time. Maybe we'll do the anime next, and if I like that, maybe I'll pick up the manga at some point. So yeah, what is Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead? Well, it's actually about this kid named Tendo who has been really excited to get a new job and actually get out there and become a good member of society and work hard and do good and be happy. And he is excited to go down to work until he finds out that they're just basically exploiting the shit out of him and using him to get all this work done so nobody else has to work. He soon realizes that his enthusiasm is being used to exploit him for work and is let a year pass by before a zombie apocalypse occurs. And unlike most people who would be upset that there is a zombie apocalypse, Tendo is actually kind of happy because this means no more work. So Tendo goes around trying to just basically live life like he would. Everything's a breeze considering how much work he had to do for the past year at this dead-end job that didn't care too much about him. So living in the apocalypse is pretty easy. He decides that he's going to make a bucket list of all the things he wants to do before he dies by getting eaten by a zombie. Because as he said, anything's better than being eaten by a zombie, which is a crazy idea, and it's interesting. I feel like the guys that put together the manga had to have been on something, or I don't know, but maybe one of them came up with like an idea to say, hey, I got this zombie idea. We should do a Zomedy or something like that. And he's like, yeah, but that's been done before. Maybe we should add another thing. I got it. What if he's like clueless and just wants to make a bucket list because he's never been able to live his life? He's worked his whole life to basically become this great worker, and he regrets it. So he goes out to do all the things he never got to do while he was basically imprisoned in his job. This seems to be a problem in a couple of different places, and I think that, and it's probably more prevalent in Japan where the movie is made. This is, people overwork themselves, to great lengths, and so do people in America. And it's like we forget that we have a whole life that we could be living instead of just, doing the bare minimum to just work at a job where we hate it and do all our stuff. And that seems to kind of be the message here. Now, this movie was pretty funny. It wasn't exactly the funniest thing that I've ever seen, but there was some pretty laugh out loud moments and a couple of spots that I thought, as an adult, it kind of really resonated with me in the workforce, because he is such a pushover when it comes to work. But when he's in his own environment doing the things that he loves, he's kind of like this fearless leader. And that's the thing about this movie, is that it's kind of balancing those two things: what you're supposed to do in life and Tendo's way. And Tendo is not exactly the most rational being because he's out riding his bikes around in the zombie apocalypse. Sure, he's being careful, but for the most part, he just seems like he's careless to everyone else around him because he's not working the regular job. When he meets a couple of friends along the way, things become more and more interesting as they are scared. He's not. They don't understand it, and so he kind of ends up leading them in some way and showing them that life can be pretty good, even in the apocalypse. So the messaging there, I think, is probably one of the more endearing things in this live action version. I watched the anime trailer and it seems like it's a little bit more violent and a little bit more risque, like some zombies biting on female parts and things. So this one seems a little bit more geared towards like a wholesome kind of thing, even though there is blood and some beheadings and some stabbings and things like that. But let's just say the gore is on the lower end. There is some ridiculousness that happens with a shark towards the end, something that you would probably have seen in a Junji Ito novel. I won't spoil any more than that, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting movie. I had a good time watching it. I really felt for the characters in this movie, and it was interesting to see Tendo sort of change people by just being himself and being a good person. And in some ways, it's such a great message, because it's just like so many people just like are good people and they just kind of get overlooked, and this guy is just living his life and being a leader like most of the other people who were admired aren't. Like, they are the ones that are backing down, while Tendo's actually doing what his heart feels. But there is a lot of jokes, interesting parts between him and his boss, and, you know, who he meets in the apocalypse and the people that he meets all over the place, and like how they tug and pull at him with his life. It's kind of a metaphor in a lot of ways of just overworking yourself and not living life. And, you know, it kind of sat with me in a really positive way that way. So, because, you know, sometimes we get so focused on doing everything for everybody else that we don't really do anything for ourselves and just enjoy life. Did this movie satiate every desire? No, it wasn't the greatest movie I've ever seen, but it continued from start to finish and did a pretty damn good job. The acting was fun, a little over the top at times, but you know, I'd expect that since that came from a manga, that it'll come to an anime, which is even more over the top. Tendo's character is kind of somewhere in between the anime and like a live real thing. He does yell out loud a lot and say crazy things that, you know, normal people wouldn't say, but it's a little bit more realistic in that regard than what the anime at least looks like. So again, you can expect to see blood and things. The zombie makeup and effects are pretty wild. They've got like white eyes and spit at black blood, and it would feel like a movie that's been there, done that more if it focused entirely on the zombies. But really, they're just kind of the dressing to the story of these characters and Tendo and his friends that he meets along the way, and the message that they're trying to express here. Pretty heartfelt. It's a 7.5 out of 10 for me. I almost wanted to give it an 8. Maybe I'll watch the anime to kind of balance me out and see which version I like better. But I really enjoyed it, and I think it's an easy watch. And I think if you enjoy movies that are just kind of heartfelt, also with a dab of, you know, zombies thrown in and some comedy, it's a fun little experience, but it definitely has the message in there to kind of make this more of a meaningful film than just, you know, a regular zombie film. You know, it is going to be a little bit of lighthearted more than it is dark. So if you don't enjoy that kind of thing, it might not be for you. But like I said, I really kind of enjoyed it. I want to check out the actual anime now to see what that's like. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your thoughts about this movie, the anime, the manga. Have you read any of them? Did you know anything about it? Are you going to check it out on Netflix? It's up now. So let me know what you think down below. And as always, long live the void.